Okay, everyone, let's get ready to stretch. We are going to start standing today. We're going to go down onto the floor as well towards the end, so make sure you have a little bit of space, but we are going to step it back, not have that beeping really loud. All right, let's go ahead and start. We're going to start with our hands behind our back, interlock those fingers together, and we are just going to turn and look over our right shoulder, and we're going to hold. And bring it to the left. Good, and go ahead and relax those hands down by the sides. We're going to bring the chin down to the chest. Think shoulders down and back. And gravity do the work here. And we're going to bring our hands up to our head, and you can curve those elbows in and give it a little bit of an extra little boost, pulling that neck down, being very gentle. Good. Inhale up. We're going to go ahead and lift the chin. We're going to take a look at the ceiling. Good. Bring the chin back down to the chest, and then inhale, bring it back up. And you can turn and rotate your head in different directions, but we do want to be stretching underneath the chin and opening up the chest here, and bring it back to neutral. We're going to do a crossover shoulder stretch. So you're going to hinge back with your hips, and I want you to think of sitting back. Right hand is going to come to the outside of your left thigh. Left hand is going to come to the outside of your right thigh, and I want you to slightly pull the legs apart and just pulling forward, sitting the hips back. So we're in this position. Creating that nice crossover stretch, opening up the back, and then cross the hands over and repeat on the other side. So crossing, pulling those legs together, but keeping them hip width apart to help give those shoulder blades a nice stretch. And bring it up. Hands together behind the back, extend, and pull. Good. Ten seconds. Should be able to stretch with your biceps in the front of your chest, shoulders. Good. And release. All right, we have our tricep stretch. Now you can do both hands at the same time, and you can just cross them right over in the back and place one hand over the other. And then work on just the mobility of bringing those elbows up and out, up and out. Good, hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and reach. All right, so this one, if you have a wall that is accessible or something like that, you can go up to the wall and you're just going to put your hand against it and then lean away from it. So you're just using the wall to assist pulling this arm backwards. And you can also do this laying on the floor. So it really just depends. If you don't have a wall that's very accessible, you can always just go up and hold something. You just want to add a little bit more pressure to that. So you can also do it leaning or just pushing it back as wide as you can, and then bringing it back in line. Give it a nice big circle, and then same thing on that other side. So I'm going to go place that arm against the wall, and then just slowly rotate away from the arm until you reach your stopping point. Should have a nice stretching feeling, no pain. Good, 10 seconds. I'm gonna hold this one off, roll it out, fold it back. Good, and release. All right, we're gonna do a side stretch. So we're gonna be stretching underneath those arms. Hands come together like we are gonna do a synchronized dive into our swimming pool. We're gonna go up and over. Now this one's hard because we are holding it. So if you need to, take a feet hip width apart, lift up, and focus more on the arms moving side to side rather than like your whole body coming to the side. So think hips really are staying the same, but just moving from the rib cage up. So when you're moving side to side here, really just our ribs are moving. Good. All right. For this one, you might need some balance assisting. We're going to do our figure 4 stretch. So that leg crosses over. Now you got 3 options: assisted against the wall, on the floor, or in a chair. Either way, as long as you have one of those legs crossed over, stretching that hip, I don't care where you do it, wherever works. So if you want to take a seat, you can do it seated, cross it. Doing it standing is just going to work a little bit of that balance. Sometimes you can get a little bit of a deeper position with this knee with turnout seated. So whichever one feels better. Switch. And get that left leg. We're holding each of these stretches for about 30 seconds. That's usually the goal when you want to stretch. A minute will feel like forever. So we tend to do 30 seconds, but anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute is wonderful. All right, got 5 seconds. 2 and 1. All right, we have a standing quad stretch. Again, holding on to something for some support. Unless you really want to test your balance, you can test your balance in the middle. And we're being very gentle. We're not like squeezing that leg in, especially if you have really sensitive knees. Keep it in line. And then you can also work on hinging forward just a little bit if you'd like to stretch a little bit more of that hip flexor. Going here. Think leaning forward as that knee comes back and back up. Good, and switch. All right, same thing. Take it forward just a little bit. All right, we're going to go down towards the floor. We're going to go into a kneeling quad stretch here. So right leg in front, take it down onto the knees. We're going to take right leg in front, slide it out in front, a little bit wider from here, and then just hands on the hips. We're just going to press those hips forward, keeping our chest up, stretching our hip flexor as well. Now our front leg is still working, so this is a little bit of that harder position. We got 3, 2, 1. All right, other leg. Swap. And lean and press it forward. Try to keep those hips square to the front. Make sure that back leg is not completely rolled out. Think the knee facing down to the floor. Top of the foot should be on the ground. Sorry guys, that was my team's. and bring it back. We're going to take it up to standing. We're going to do a hamstring stretch. Now you can do a modified version and put that foot up onto a chair or something like this and elevate the leg. Or you can do it right down on the floor and sit it back. Whatever you like. Three, two, and one. All right, other leg. Do it on the floor, sit the hips back. Ten seconds. Three, two, and one. All right, we have a calf stretch. So we're basically doing the same stretch, but to the back. So foot comes behind, placing the heel down. You want to make sure that that foot is as far down into the floor as possible. And then you're just going to lean forward on this front foot. And think of pressing that back heel down into the floor. This is a really good stretch to help work on that ankle mobility and calf mobility, especially if you struggle with squatting with your heels coming up. If you notice your heels lift when you squat, highly recommend elevating your heels under a towel until you can work on mobility and stretches like this to help release the tightness in that calf, Achilles tendon. Sometimes forget to really work on the stretching there. Our Achilles tendon is our largest and thickest tendon in our body, so it definitely can limit your range of motion in your feet. Good. Think of pressing that heel down, and then we're going to bring it down to the floor for an adductor stretch. So bring it down. You can also do this seated in your chair. Legs come apart. And if you are in a chair, you're just going to reach through your legs for the floor or reach forward, keeping the toes pointed towards the ceiling, knees towards the ceiling. You can bring it to the elbows if you can reach. And just hanging out here. Good. All right, roll it up. Bring it over into a child's pose. We're going to reach it. Sitting back, knees together, ankles together. Sit back, reach those arms out. We're going to hold for 30 seconds. Three, two, and one. Good. Bring it up onto all fours. We have cat and cow. Inhale, exhale. Think of really pressing up through the spine, rotating the hips, lifting the chin. And back. Don't forget to take nice deep breaths. Back in line. And then we are just going to finish out with a thread the needle, stretching this right arm underneath, letting the shoulder come down to the ground. This is one of my favorite back stretches. So I always feel like I'm gonna get stuck in that position. All right, bring it to the other side. Slide it through. And inhale up. Rock it back. Shake out those hands. You give yourself a big ol' high five. Thank you so much for stretching with me today. We will see you next time. I hope you feel better than you did 15 minutes ago. Don't forget to hydrate if you haven't already, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks, everyone.